and the stacks are deep, I make it 400 because I feel like I can take the pot down right
And
there.
you're deep. Like, I think you got deep
I've
with
got
everybody there.
like 2,000 deep. It's not super deep. The original guy that made it 75 calls. Another guy who only started with 1,000 calls. And then Frank, who called in the small line, the guy in seat 6 who's not there, the little Asian kid, Frank.
Oh, that right. It was him. It was him.
Who initially called the 75. Now,
oh, my God.
he
that
now
guy.
moves all in for 700. So he back raises all in for 700. So I then move all in to isolate him. And the first guy, who was the initial raiser, had kings, who was kind of a donkey guy who I never thought would have kings there. Frank had 8-6 suited, and the board came out, I believe it was 5-7-9.
Yeah.
So Frank flopped the nuts.
I think it was 5-7-4.
Or 5-7-4.
5-7-4, because I remember 7-4 specifically. Oh, my God.
Jack 6
That was
deuce
Frank,
here.
because he went nuts when it happened, too.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. That was great. I wish I'd known that coming into this.
Bryce is going to lead out here with King Jack. Now, Don over-limped here. Was this a raised pot here, Alan? Don's got... It was a straddle pot limped around. So Don here with Jack 9. He's got top pair. Oh, and Zane's flop bottom set. Zane's got bottom set. And it's an issue of how is he going to play it here, because it is a little bit of a limped pot. He just calls. I don't mind the just call here. Now, I think for Don here, he's got to realize that against a random bet and a call, Jack 9 is usually not going to be doing all that good, and I would probably toss Jack 9 here on the flop.
Queen of spades on the turn.
Turns a queen. I actually don't mind the just call by Zane, especially if you're up against a good player. Remember, you can slow play against good players who are going to value bet their own hands and are also going to basically bet over cards. Because if Zane had raised that flop right away, I think it goes full fold. And Zane has called once again here. And this is a hand that he is slow playing that I do not mind. River is a king. Bryce now rivers kings and jacks. And can Bryce bet fold this river? Can Bryce bet fold this river and give Zane credit for a set of deuces or a set of sixes?
Nobody ever sees the set coming.
The pot is 790. He's going to bet out here. This will be interesting. How much is the bet?
Nobody ever sees the set coming.
460. And, I mean, unless Bryce backed into 9-10 or ace-10, of course you have to raise this.
Zane's just going to call.
No way. No. Not the way that he played this. This is a raise fold here, just like my raise fold with eights. And it's actually a sick play, because if you're deep and you raise and you get re-raised back, it's like, oh my god, did the guy run into ace-10? But this is a raise all day long.
Makes it 1,500.
And he does raise. And can Bryce bet fold this river?
Oof.
Zane has made it 15. I mean, he really only beats a bluff here. I mean, I just don't think there's any value hand that Zane does this with that's worse than King Jack. You might have the same hand. How much more is it? 1,000?
1,000 more. 1,040 to go.
So he's getting 2.7 to 1 to call. And what screens out at me, though, is the fact that he might have a set of sixes or a set of deuces. Normally, you would see a guy raise the turn, but I just don't think he's doing this for value as a bluff. Or, excuse me, I don't think he's doing this as for value with worse than King Jack. So this is where you get into the situation on the rivers where it's like, well, I have King Jack, I have to call. It doesn't matter what you have. The guy is either running a bluff or he has you beat. I cannot invent a value hand that he has here. I don't think he makes this play with Queen Jack.
Oof.
This is a really, really interesting one here, folks.
This is where you shut the show. Like, after this should be the last hand of the night. This is one of those exciting hands. Keeps people coming back, wanting more.
I mean, he bet out 490 and he gets basically 1,500 total. He's getting 2.7 to 1 here. And the only thing that really makes a whole lot of sense for value is sixes or deuces. But I still think you only beat a bluff with this action.
I say he makes the call.
You know, I think it's rather irrelevant if he makes the call or not. Again, what I want to stress here in this hand is that you only beat a bluff here. The fact that your hand is King Jack is irrelevant. It's probably the equivalent to Ace Jack. But people don't look at it. They look at it and they're like, oh, I would fold Ace Jack here, but I would call with King Jack, not realizing that there's no difference between the two hands whatsoever. He's pained right now. He's really, really pained. You know, I think that you kind of dismiss the fact that the guy could ever run into a straight when he's never going to call the flop and not raise the turn with 9-10 or ace-10 if he never has those hands. So you really are up against the sixes or deuces here as the guy's value hand. And you can see why for Zane, how it's an easy raise fold in the sense that if you raise and you get re-raise shipped on, no one is ever playing a bet 3-bet on the river here as a bluff. And you can see how pained Bryce is here with King Jack.
Oof. Take your time, Bryce.
And this is why I think I really like, I said it from the beginning, I like the way Zane played this hand against a good player. I like the slow play. I don't often say that I like slow playing, but against the guy that's capable of continuing to value bet his hand, I actually like this play. Because if Zane had just raised the flop, the hand probably would have been over. It's a really interesting hand.
Except for riffling his ship, Zane has not moved an inch.
Yeah, he's like, what does this hand beat? And it doesn't beat anything. It beats none of the value raising range.
When you open your hand, you have 10 seconds to act on your hand.
I mean, the only thing you could invent is the fact the guy has maybe 4-5 of spades or 3-4 of spades that he's turned into a bluff. That's it. And Bryce folds, and he's played pretty well tonight.
Oh. Thank God you didn't show it, Zane.
It's only 4-5 of spades and probably 3-4 of spades.